Alright, let's see if I can do this even shorter. So, I think we're on... Okay. Alright, so we're back again. I'm going to do this even shorter than the last episode. And, just so you know, when I said I was having a problem with saying slash, it was during the actual episode itself. And another thing is that I thought that for some reason that when it was actually making the volume lower. No, just when I record it. It's not like when I recorded it on Android, although if you record over it so many different times, the original, and I mean the very original recording itself, can get a little bit lower. I've noticed that. I think this is one that I've got or had currently. I don't remember what it was, but I can't get that on this device. And you can't. The thing of it is that it's free. I don't have to buy it. I mean, like I said before, I'd rather go ahead and purchase it one time and never again. It's the same thing when it comes to storage. I think I've said this before, but I'll say this because it's not worth it to me. It's more of a hassle to pay every month when you've already got enough of it, especially if you're poor and living on a budget, if you've got money at all. I mean, so much of a budget that it's not enough to cover for food, have all the bills, including which includes in the rent is food. By the way, food is part of rent, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Even though that we don't consider it in one sense because even though they're kind of separate. But like, okay, including like electric, and that is not including the monthly bill you might pay for the internet or the internet, even the internet itself. That's not even including that. It's not even including your cell phone bill. But then when you start including all that, and on the limited budget that you have, what is the point of that? I had the same stance about shows and on these networks, like when they separate and all of a sudden now we have these new networks, like, okay, why? Look, I get that it's supposed to cut our bills in half, and yeah, it does. But not when you keep adding more and more and more. I'm sorry, but I don't have the budget to afford all that of what I just mentioned before that, and then on top of that, pay the internet, pay like all these other outfits, including not limited to Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Peacock, all these other things like HBO, Cinemax, Disney Plus. You know, I don't have that luxury. So I don't know why people think that this is something that should be a thing. Like, okay, yeah, it's cutting my bill in half. It's not doing that, okay? Not when you have to add on more and more things. Even without the ability of where I'm actually paying for credit that actually pays for Netflix and another credit that pays for my Google so that I can listen to music on the road, even though that half the time it doesn't do me any good because it stops. And even though that the minor annoyance as well is even if I could get through the list, it goes to a different songs that have literally nothing to do with it. Or songs that I don't want to hear. Or even if it's from a whole different band, I don't really care. It's nothing against them personally. I just don't want to hear it. I don't care how related it's supposed to be when it's really not. It has nothing to do with it. You know? If I wanted it, and if I wanted it and liked it, both at the same time, it'd be in the list. for me to enjoy, whether I'm watching it or just listening to it. It doesn't matter. If it's not there, then there's a reason for it. And I refuse to go to a mixed list that's not mine, even though that I do listen to music that's outside of it because it's not in my list that I have created from somewhere else, another channel. Cough. Anyway, that there alone should mean something to you. I am not even joking or kidding around, same thing. That when I mean this, okay, that's like if I were to play a game and then add something into the list that has literally nothing to do with the game. Oh, there's a mailbox. What's that got to do with the game? I mean, I admit that sometimes in games there are some points in the game that you might have had where it has a mailbox or whatever the hell it is, but chances are 50% or whatever we call it out of 100, or 9 times out of 10, whatever you want to call it, you're already going to have more videos if you're creating this content before you even get to something that's going to be related, even if it's something to do with real life that's kind of related to that. Or someone else has created that. It doesn't matter. Okay? Maybe not all the time, or maybe not everybody does that, for the record. Unlike some people, I might add, those who talk, who can have more say because they get paid for it. Anyway. And I still say the worst thing ever happened to the internet now, and the whole world as well, is way worse than the Smithery slap that happened. And that is the thing about Britney Spears. Oh, she's welcome to have any life she wants to. I don't care. But the way she parades around and sleeps with a bunch of men, what a slut. That includes like a few women I've seen that make videos. All of a sudden they're with a different guy. What a slut. You know, even though that sometimes they're mainly with them with a lot of their videos, but then there's other men that they're with for a lot of their videos. No. Look, I may not vote for couples, and I will never do that anyway. But I still go with the idea that I know what fits. Even if I fall in love with them myself, doesn't matter. Okay? For someone who believes in love, they still can fall in love. That doesn't mean that I think that you and I are going to be a match. But I know that what's going to be, even if I'm not the one who's there. Because I do believe in true love. Okay? And I do support that. I just don't vote for straight couples. I just don't, because a lot of the times it's more frowned upon to be a lesbian or whatever the case may be. So true love will always be a thing. And I will always support incest. Now, again, if they're at the right age. Not too young either. And I don't get into, again, straight couples, but, okay. It doesn't mean that everybody has to do it, because it's all in the matter of true love. It's not that she shouldn't be with him. It's the fact that they should be at the right age. It's like, it doesn't matter whether they're in the same family or not. If you're right at the right age, like with me and my cousins, we don't participate in that kind of thing, but it doesn't matter, okay? Even if, and you don't actually have to be one either, and I don't always see myself falling in love with a person either, but no matter what, but even so, it's more like I can still tell, because I don't let it judge my or cloud my judgment about people for like love, because it's true love. Whatever fits and should be. Why deny it? It's real love. It doesn't mean you have to do it. But if you're in love, accept it. Open up to it. But also make sure you're an adult of the right age. At least anywhere from the 20s up to even, well, whatever the time when it's no longer possible. It doesn't matter whether it's that, something else, or even if you're a lesbian or whatever. Accept it. I can't tell you about whether or not, you should accept being bi. Because, you should accept it, but I wouldn't go for it in the same idea that, believing it'll last forever, because it won't. It'll last forever in the regard that you'll still be curious from time to time, but ultimately you will choose your own partner. That's how it always happens. Even a woman who likes both men and women, she either winds up with the man or the woman. And it doesn't really frankly matter. Same thing with a guy. Guy that likes guys and girls at the same time. He winds up choosing one or the other. I've seen it happen billions and billions of times, because this is how true love works. I'm all for anything out there. True love is what it is. You should accept it. Even if you love a woman who's got I don't want to say, but you get the idea. Okay? It doesn't matter. Because even though love can be blind, see, that's the key word, can be blind. It's not always blind. It just depends on how much experience you have and whether or not, okay, I don't know if I want to be with that person. And if you really do believe in love, true love, I should say, then you'll have your open mind and be like, it really doesn't matter what they have, what they look like. It doesn't matter. If you don't love that person, you don't love them. Yes, it should have nothing to do with what they did or didn't do, as long as it wasn't something to you to the point that you have to just turn your back on them. Like, literally. And I'm not even kidding about that. But back to reviews and stuff. Like, okay, so reviewing is a thing that a lot of people do without considering that they should do their own research instead of just or uploading it with content of someone else. That's something that I can't do because I don't want to. And even if they did, a lot of them don't bother to put out credit to where it belongs. Like, literally, they will not sit there and say, well, this isn't mine. They won't even say it in the description. It should be both in the description and in the video to make a point if you're going to review something. Literally. Because otherwise it makes it look like that this is your content, you did it. It might still look like it in general, but at least you're letting people know, truthfully and honestly, that is not yours. Like, say you take a footage of someone actually playing a game, which is about as far as you can go, as much as it is, and make sure you don't have too much of it, because you might get something going on with the system that we wouldn't want to talk about. And I would never, ever show movies. I mean, a lot of people do it because they can get away with it, and sometimes they can't. They'll still get copyrights. And then there's a lot of people that don't, period, and they never do. So I don't understand that portion of it. So you want to talk about reviews and stuff, copyright should never be a thing. Because all you're doing is you're critiquing, and that's part of reviewing things. You're saying whether or not it's good, it's bad, and being truthfully about it is that you should never tell people you shouldn't watch it. It's just more like, watch it if you want to. I don't highly recommend it. That's as far as that should ever go. Not, don't watch it because I say so. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you won't. How do I know you won't like it just because I don't like it? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you won't. As I've said this before and I'll say it again. And I know I'm repeating myself here, now that I think about it anyway, for the record. But, yeah, when you think about it, really, ultimately, what was I saying now? I forgot. Well, anyway, you know. Because, oh, right, that's what it was. Because I've had a lot of people tell me that such and such is so terrible. And I go and check it out, and I love it. Or a lot of people tell me how much they liked it. I go and watch it. I don't like it. I hated that damn thing. It was so boring as hell. There's a movie that I also don't really want to watch because I'm not looking forward to it, but because my mom tried to get me into it, and I should have done it while she was alive, while I had the chance. Even though I know I'm not going to like it. I know because I'm not into, you remember the key word? I'm not into straight couples. Well, I'm not. And even though I think that vampires and wolves are cool, and I will always think that, I'm just not into that. Because it's all lovey-dovey crap. And that's what it ultimately revolves around. And I think the name of it is Twilight. I'm not going to swear to that, but I think that's the name of the movie. I'm going to be watching it as soon as possible. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to get into, but I'm not going to bother to review it either because I know I'm not going to be able to enjoy it long enough to even say whether or not, oh my God, it was so horrible or it was so good. Any of it was good. I'm not, because I don't get into lovey-dovey romantic stories. I admit that I watched Seinfeld, but that's in itself is not quite all into nothing but love. I mean, my family doesn't really care for it, but I do. But anyway, let's move on. Did we do type attack, blah, 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 pause the video if you want to read all that. Okay, so we did the status of X3. Now we're on to battle status effects 4. Poison, take damage every turn. Pain, take damage every turn. What the hell's the difference? I mean, I know one's poison, but... Anyway, it doesn't sound like there's any difference other than the name. Wow. Anyway, Rage, only able to attack a specific enemy. Anyway. Sleep, unable to act. Bind, unable to use certain skills, kind of like sleep. Stun, unable to act for one turn, just like those other two. Anyway, Confuse, act randomly. Okay. Stone, unable to act or receive damage. Kind of like the other three, but, Okay. Darkness, physical attacks miss sometimes. Regen, recover HP each turn. Just for the record, before we continue on, if you want to hear me talk about or read it, skip forward to some point in the video. Like I said before, as always, just skip forward until you finally hear me doing this. I don't care, just get on to it. You'll eventually hear me see it. Sorry about the deal. But anyway, I just explained a few things. Anyway, MP Regen, which has never been a thing that I've ever heard of. Anyway, recover MP each turn. Counter, able to counter certain attacks. Shouldn't it be all attacks? Anyway. Nullify prevents specific status effects. Charge, prepare for the next battle. hold ground. When HP is reduced to 0, stop at 1 HP instead. HP use reduction. Required MP to use skills is reduced. Okay, I don't think I read that part before, but anyway. Barrier. Reduce specific damage amount. Multi-upgrade or just multi-upgrade. Increase the strength of skills according to the number of skill hits 4 stages. Okay, I don't think I saw that before. Actually, I know I didn't. So basically, if you defend, which I think that's what it is. I don't know if there is a defend in this game, but you can hold your ground until whatever. And then instead of getting to 0, you get to 1 HP, okay? It's kind of like when the characters that die, which you will be seeing in this video, not to spoil it, but you will be seeing that, I think. I don't remember, it's been too long. Yeah, they do come back to life, but they only have 1 HP, so you actually have to be careful about that. So that is a thing that I have noticed. They did not explain in this. So let's get on with, come on. Okay. Battle status effects 5. Curse. Become unable to use the same skill continuously. Okay. The status effect cannot be removed except by defeating the curse user. So what happens if you win the battle? I don't know, let's say that. Break. Damage is doubled. Break is removed when the character receives damage. Okay. Guard. The character receives damage in place of other party members. It also prevents them from getting knocked out. Frozen. Unable to act, not removed by damage. Betrayal. Attack allies at random. Shock. When a character is attacked, the combo multiplier is easier to increase. Mode change. This is a state that is activated when certain conditions are met and has effects that vary. I don't know how to spell vary because vary is V-E-R-Y. Anyway, from character to character, which way would have made more sense anyway. Singing. While in this state, in exchange for being unable to act, grant the singing effect to your allies. Shield. With a few exceptions, this effect allows the shield to negate damage. If the damage exceeds the shield's HP, it will break, and the remaining damage will hit the character. Extend AZ turns. Extend number of another zone turns. Okay, that's cool. So, anyway, I will see you all in the next part.